To think that all of this could have played out differently had Karen just basically took this plea deal and just served 60 days. Now she has to do 1 year in prison and 1 year suspended. Woo! Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
What's going on, you all? We got to talk about Karen Huger being sentenced to 2 years, 1 year in prison, 1 year suspended. What is going on? The Grom Dom is in the slammer. And I don't want to make light of this situation, but I kind of saw it coming. The way that judge was, they said he was visibly pissed. Said sister was filled to the gills with liquor. I told you all that Karen was not just tipsy off of alcohol. It was just not alcohol. There were some other things, and her attorneys were trying to argue before the sentencing that she may have been under some antidepressants. And I told y'all, watching that video, that body cam footage of her and seeing all the dash cam footage and how she, like, that was not just alcohol. She had no type of remorse. She had no type of care. And granted, she was under the influence or whatever, but she felt absolutely nothing. Like, it was just, she was just not there. Everything that was there was the stuff that didn't need to be coming out. I knew something was just off. Not with just her being drunk, but it was something else. And come to find out, it might have been antidepressants, which makes a lot more sense for me. And her attorneys tried to argue that her parents' passing caused her a lot of grief and a lot of things. And it is a real thing. Grief is not something you get over. It's something that you will always deal with. And I believe that, yeah, losing parents, that's going to take a toll on you. And my issue with that is Karen's situation was used to make an example of her. You're not telling me that that judge was not thinking to make an example of her. That's what they do. He said homegirl was filled to the gills. He was visibly pissed from what's being reported. Visibly angry. These folks are supposed to be impartial. They're supposed to, hey, this is what's going on. I'm finna sentence you to this. This is what it is. Now, when it comes to being in prison, this is not going to fix Karen, or it's not going to scare her straight. It's not going to make her anything. It is going to traumatize her. It is going to traumatize her. Not just Karen being a older black woman, but prison traumatizes people, period. No matter what the crime is, they will be traumatized. And we have to look at this as a society of, what does the prison do for people? Like, what does it do? Because it's not making these people come out as quote unquote better citizens or whatever. It is a lot of other things happening. And there is profit to be made on this. There's profit to be made on people going to prison. And we think about that and we get into prison labor and all that. There is no ethical way to do this. Now, could Karen be struggling with addiction? Very well, maybe. Very well, maybe. If I was someone that was around Karen, or if I was advising her as like a public relations figure or whatever, I would tell her, girl, she would have been damn near begging for her life on the show. I would say, hey, girl, you gonna have to take accountability on the show. She did not take accountability. And one thing I will say is that we, as much as we don't want to admit it, we enjoy seeing people be punished. We enjoy seeing people who we deem as bad or not taking accountability. We want to see them punished. A lot of us are unfortunate. We live in a society that we enjoy seeing carceral responses like this. A judge throwing the book at her, sentencing her for more than what was asked, because I think the prosecutors were shooting for 6 months. It could still be 6 months, but a year in prison. I mean, they might come back 6 months later and let her out, but we do not know that. But this is that. And as much as I don't want to see Karen go to jail, I will say that poor people go to jail all the time. Poor people go to jail all the time. They do not have anywhere near the resources and the social capital that a Karen has, or any of the things that Karen has been afforded. Poor people go to jail all the time. I mean, I had to pay a $500 ticket for expired license for a week, $500 ticket, or be on probation for a year and pay $90 a month. Y'all are putting me in a situation that if I did not have the money, y'all going to make more money off of me, and that if I get in any more trouble, y'all are going to put me behind bars, or something else is going to happen where y'all going to make more money off of that. So the system is designed to keep poor people in situations like this. It does not do anything. Someone should not have to be paying these type of like things. The system is making profits and making money off of poor people. So it's kind of hard for me to have empathy, if I'm being honest, for someone like a Karen who, this is not her second DUI. This is not her third. This is her, come to find out, her fourth one. And I don't care if it's been 20 years. She's been doing this consistently. We need to find something to get her some help. And none of her friends on this show or around her or family has gotten her that. None of them have done that. They have essentially enabled her behavior. That video, there's no way to see that and see how she acted. Sister, we got to get it together. Like, this ain't giving. On the show, we saw her take no accountability, none whatsoever. She didn't want to talk about it. It was something that came off like it was an accident. The folks on the show basically enabled her and offered her grace, so much grace. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I was like, are we at a repass? Grace and mercy. Like, what is going on? You would think that Karen had been hit by a DUI, like a person that was under the influence. You would think that Karen was the victim of that. She's a victim of some other stuff. We can get into that. But the way that there was no accountability at all, like Karen never for a second was accountable for these things. And the judge exerted his power over her in this moment, like took something away from her freedom, just like that, with a stroke of a pen, with a hit of a gavel, took her freedom away from her. And we know that prison does not reform people. It's not in the business of reforming people. It's in the business of making profits. That's what it is. So as much as I don't want to see Karen go to jail or be in prison, I think there needs to be a conversation about who are actual friends and who's showing up for each other, because there's no way that y'all knew all of these things and didn't, like, what is going on? Y'all have made comments about Karen being drunk and said that y'all knew this stuff. Y'all knew all of these. Y'all were very privy in spilling this tea to her. Now y'all making light of the situation. And if we want to get into it, I'm going to really get into it, because I talked about this in my Dr. Heavenly video, that these folks who watch Karen on these shows and follow her on Twitter, girl, these are not your friends. The way they turned on you and made jokes about you being in jail, the way you saw so many people, like non-black folks, white folks, like black people too, make jokes about her being in jail, like this was not something serious. This is very serious. And how funny it was to a lot of folks. Like, I posted some stuff too, like the clip of her saying clinkety clink didn't age well.
Arrest her. Clankety clank, bitch.
It did not age well at all. You were saying all these things, and now you in jail. You in prison. And now your family has to go through this. Your husband has to go through this. And, you know, it is what it is. But Ray has had his own situations too. That whole bankruptcy or tax debt situation caused her a lot of grief too. So Ray will be fine. He's a grown man. But I will say that Ray did show up for Karen a couple of times. Showed up for her the night she ran into that tree. She was throwing up all in her purse and all that. Ray was right there trying to make sure that she did not go to jail, because he saw where it was going. And the way he was talking to her, you can tell that he was used to her doing stuff like this. So a lot of folks who are around Karen, friends, family, failed her. A lot of friends and family members failed Karen in this moment. The people who she considered friends failed her in this moment. And now they're laughing. Some of them are laughing at it and making light of it. And it's messed up. It is truly messed up. So yeah, Karen has been sentenced to 2 years, 1 year suspended, 1 year in prison. And I just wish that Karen had taken some accountability while she was on the show. I think the first video that she did for the reunion, how she talked and how she was emotional, I felt like, it wasn't bad, but it made us see her in a quote unquote humbling experience where she's going through it. And then turn around 30, 45 minutes later, we see her snatched back and with a halter top sweater and just like, I'm the Grand Dame, not anymore, not right now, but nobody can take my seat. It just seems like she just didn't take it serious. She didn't take it serious. Like, girl, you're finna go to jail. Like, are you okay? Like, but you know what? If it's anything, it shows that these folks don't have a life outside of this show. This show has become their life. Like, this show, like, the way Karen was casually talking about this show while she was under the influence, like, they call me the Grand Dame. These folks don't have anything else going on other than this show. Like, you didn't see Karen talk about anything else in this video. I watched the whole thing, 30 something minutes of it. You didn't see her make any type of other comments about anything else. She was so committed to still being the Grand Dame in this, because this is all they got sometimes. Their whole lives is wrapped around that. And I know that, speaking as a content creator who talks about a lot of stuff, and my social media pages are me and my YouTube name, my branded name, instead of me being Justin James. So I get it, how easy it is to fall into that. But y'all need some real friends around y'all. There's no way I would say that I care about somebody and I'm seeing them be visibly drunk and incapacitated and calling me tipsy and not being concerned and saying, hey girl, we got to figure this out. Karen deciding to go to a rehabilitation center after these things and before her sentencing was the nerve. And that's how that judge looked at the nerve of you wasting our time. They're punishing her for also not taking that plea deal. We have to now spend money. We have to work when you could have just did this 60 days and went on about your business. Now we got to really show you that you better take the plea deal. That's where we are. You better take the plea deal. So that makes me think about, if there is a plea deal, what is the purpose of any of this stuff? What is the purpose? Like, couldn't we just start off with that to begin with? It's scare tactics. It's scare tactics. And that's how they scared me to paying that $500. Girl, let me tell you something. The way I want to cuss so bad, the way she gave me, I was like, yeah, you give raccoon. The way she gave me $500, I was like, $500? Are you for a ticket? Are y'all serious right now? Y'all serious right now, Atlanta? Y'all like punishing folks, poor people, like people getting tickets for headlights being out and brake lights being out. I didn't get no ticket for that, but it's just, y'all make money off of, the city makes money off of folks being poor, and it's ridiculous. Like, it was ridiculous. $500 for something as simple as my driving license being expired a week. $500. Yes, like, don't drive without a quote unquote license, but $500 is excessive. It's excessive. And then offer the option of $90 per month for a year. So y'all gonna make more money if I can't pay y'all right then and there. What is this, right? What is this? Am I buying a new iPhone or something? You finna set up me a payment plan that costs more money instead of me just paying it right now? What are y'all, a subscription? What is this, a subscription service? Hey, if you bundle up, you'll save 30%. That's where we at now? Ridiculous. So I do feel for Karen. I feel for Karen, and I hate that she's going through this. I feel for Karen, and I hate that she's going through this. I do think that somebody should have intervened some time ago. I feel like Karen could have had some type of something on this show and showed us that she did feel bad. I don't care if it would have made her more guilty or whatever, but it was the audacity for me. It was the audacity for me watching her that we never seen her take accountability into the very, very last moment. And that second video again spoke to who Karen is as a person. And now you're the Grand Dame in jail. It's really sad. I don't know what's going to happen to Real Housewives of Potomac in this. She might come back and make even more money about this. She might be able to write a book about it. So celebrities, even though they're going to experience this, they're going to profit off of it. If she survives or whatever, she's going to profit off of it. She's going to talk about her story. They're going to ask her questions. She's going to be doing interviews and all of that. She's going to be getting a lot of media attention, but it's like it's working class poor folks going to jail for way less offenses and having to sit in jail for months at a time because they don't have money to pay for a lawyer and all that. And they're not getting the interviews. They're not. Why do we? It's just, the way this stuff is set up is just really messed up. It makes me think about the woman who lost her children in the vehicle that froze. Like, she wasn't given housing until losing so much. So these things have always existed. Why do people have to go through so much pain to then get some level of something to survive? It's really sad, and it's disappointing. That's all I got on Miss Karen Huger and the whole situation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.